everybody, welcome to Building with Sand, episode 28. It is Monday, February 11th, 2013. And, well, I did not get as much work on the bazaar done this weekend as I had originally hoped to. We do have the first 4 archways done on the east side of the bazaar, on which I spent, I think I built on over the last 2 days. A little earlier, I spent some time putting the beginning of the western arches up, and figured that we would spend the rest of this episode putting up the bases of the north and south arches. So I have yet to really figure those ones out, but that's okay because we'll probably take plenty of time to put up these other ones. I did want to get a lot of this work done today before recording. Unfortunately, it didn't work out that way. I don't know why, but today I was just really extra tired for no reason. I think it was maybe because we had a really big thunderstorm come through last night. There were like 2 different thunder showers, and what had happened was I was just kind of up. Like storms, I like storms. What I don't like are tornadoes. So I'm always kind of worried that when we have a big thunderstorm and they release a tornado watch, that it kind of bugs me because I'm not from Texas where I live currently, and tornadoes kind of creep me out. I'm more used to like earthquakes and from living in California. I remember the first year I lived in Texas, our first winter or so, there was I was in North Texas, and there was a storm that may have had a tornado or very close to having a tornado touchdown. And ever since then, I was like, well, I don't like this. It's, I don't know, it kind of freaks me out. The whole idea of dying from a tornado is not the way I'd like to go. To me, in my head, the way it works is you generally hear a earthquake coming, and you get all the rumbling and all that stuff, and then you can hear the building fall on top of you that crushes you to death. When it's a tornado, sure, you got the storms and all that, but you probably won't see that mailbox that comes through your window and impales you or something, So that just kind of bugs me a little bit. Otherwise, I just was extra tired today. I don't know why. I spent a whole lot of time trying to edit my first episode of Dead Space 3, and it turned out that I changed one seemingly innocuous modifier somewhere, and everything was just flickering and terrible and caused me a whole lot of grief. And there's also, it's in 1080p, so it takes even longer to render that. So versus generally when I render a Minecraft episode in 720, it takes me about half an hour to do that, and rendering a video in 720p, not 720, 1080p, or actually they're 1080i. Semantics. It takes me, it could take up to 1 hour and 45 minutes, which is much longer. So when something like that, something goes wrong, which seems to be the case occasionally, it's a lot more of a pain to fix, or at least even if it's just something as simple as having to re-render a video, it can be a painful nightmare, especially when I have a lot of stuff I want to go up. So I want to get 1 episode up a day, but it might be every other day, just because I have this series, and even though most of Okami's already almost only last 2 episodes that need to be edited. Still want to work on that. And then I have Metal Gear Rising coming out here in the next week. Oh, I probably won't put it up in the next week, but you know, that's gonna have to get rendered. Before I keep talking, I was looking at where I'm gonna put the entrances, and I was thinking I wanted them on the ends, but I don't like how much space there is between this wall, and I don't want to push this one more. Well, I could technically push it back one more, but I don't know if I really want to. And what I'm thinking instead is I'm going to have the entrances be right here, one on this side, one on the other side, and then I probably won't have any on the west side of the building, and that should be plenty for entryway. But what I'm going to do is just put up all the stalls first, and then just take out the one that I don't want, whatever stalls I don't want. On top of that, I am running out of resources really quickly. Just to put up the last couple arches over there, and then the base over here, I've gone through a double chest and almost 2 double chests worth of sand, just to make all this sandstone. So I'm worried eventually that not really eventually, but sometime soon, I'm gonna run out of sand, and then I'm gonna have to go find a desert somewhere and, you know, liberate it of all of its sand, which means I'm gonna have to go through quite a lot of shovels. And like this one right now, it's almost gone, and I already kind of don't want to go through the hassle of re-enchanting it. I've been trying to just transfer over the enchantments, so that's why I have efficiency 5 on both of them. But because the whole enchanted book thing is kind of not as good as I'd hoped it would be. It's just because of how rare it is to get the good ones you want, or just how much a pain in the butt it is to get certain enchantments. I think if you're sort of rich on resources, then just enchanting the tool itself and then recombining it with another one, probably the best way to go than dealing with having to make books or find books in a stronghold or something. I mean, I wouldn't be so annoyed about books if they didn't change the crafting, the requirements to needing leather. It just makes a whole other step in how much of a pain it is to make books and bookshelves. Not that it's hard to get cows or anything, it's just kind of annoying. I don't know how to explain it. I think if anyone's been playing Minecraft long enough to remember the old way the books and other things were, you understand. That's the old days now, I guess. Anyway, as I was saying before, I'm just really tired today and kind of threw off my entire schedule for this episode. We had a friend come over tonight and we had some pizza, and then I've been on this like absinthe kick recently, so I got a bottle of that and we were drinking that, and we had 4 shots in total, I think, over like an hour and a half or so, maybe longer, and it just made me drunk and really tired, which is amazing considering that I didn't have all that much, even though I know it is a fairly strong alcohol. It's kind of weird to me, maybe, the fact that I'm trying not to cuss on this series, but because I know kids play Minecraft, but at the same time I talk about drinking all the time, and I also talk about things like Dead Space, which is a fairly gory game and should not be played by children. And I don't know what other games I've talked about in the past, like Black Ops 2, which should not be played by children. I know it is, and I don't know. I think parents need to watch their kids what they play more often. Not to say that I did anything better. Well, actually, when I was growing up, you know, I played games like Doom and Wolfenstein, and but games today are a lot different, I would think, in terms of realism and stuff like that. I remember I had I don't know if it's I think it was Diablo 2, and I actually tried to hide it. I hid it from my parents so well that I didn't actually play the game ever. and I mean, that wasn't even a very realistic game. Sure, it's kind of gory, but it's in a certain kind of viewpoint and all that, the isometric, that you really wouldn't. It's not as noticeable, but yeah. So had some absinthe, got drunk, and then it made me even more tired. Maybe it wasn't the fact that I was really drunk, is just the absinthe made me super tired. And then I came on here and tried to work on doing some of this off camera, and it feels like it's getting late, so I didn't want to go and go on too long without doing an episode. So here we'll come on here and work on this, and getting this done actually does help me a lot. This is a big part of the build. The other parts I can get done. I can get done with the center part pretty quick. The topmost part takes a while. Actually, maybe the top part is one of the easier parts. The center part is hard because I'm trying to align all the archways the same, and it's hard for me to keep track on which height I should be putting stuff. I should be counting that, but I've just kind of not been doing that. I've just been eyeballing it and then jumping down and looking at it and going from there continuously. I'm not a very good role model for building. I'm glad some of you guys like what I do build. A lot of it is inspired from other places, which I think is a good thing, and hopefully I can inspire other people to build cool things. Which is really kind of why I decided to do this series in the first place, because I thought I had some cool ideas. I wanted to share them with everybody, and I think uh-oh. How in the world did that happen? Well, that's not a big of a deal. We just have to push everything back one. I counted this and recounted it and made sure over and over that I had it right, and I still managed to screw it up, but at least I caught it early. It would have been a pain to put all of these in and then realize I was one thin, too thin. Hopefully that means I still have enough space over here. Oh yeah, for sure. Gotta get more sandstone. I just keep burning through sand. It's amazing. I don't know what we're going to be able to build after this series, after this build is complete, because we're going to be tapped on sand. up with something smaller. I don't know how I'm ever going to build that ziggurat I want to build when definitely don't have any have enough sandstone at the moment. We'll see when we get there. If we ever get there. Trying not to drag these episodes on too long. I mean, like these builds, I mean. I watch a lot of YouTube videos myself, and I know how certain things can get boring. And long builds, you kind of, if there's too many episodes, you kind of lose track on what's going on. Hopefully it's not that. With this, even though we are kind of, I don't know how many we're getting in on this one, but it's super straightforward, so you're not missing out anything if you you know, aren't really keeping up with this, what's going on here. And I'm not doing like a how-to build series anyway, so it's not a big deal. I don't think I could do that because the way I build is too scatterbrained that it'd be hard to keep up with me, or the build, I don't know, something would be strange. It would just not, I don't think it'd be very interesting for me telling people how to do stuff. Really just want to be like, I'm doing this, and if you catch on, then cool, and maybe you'll integrate something I've done somewhere else. I have been thinking about the center, I mean the walkways on the inside of the building. Came up with some ideas in creative that I hate. I hate all of them, I absolutely do. There's one certain kind of brick that I'm thinking of integrating, but at the same time I don't like that either. I was thinking of putting colored blocks in for wool, and everything looks awful for some reason. I don't know. I really don't know. I've looked at pictures of bazaars, the ones I'm taking inspiration from, and it seems like a lot of them are just like stone, like sandstone-ish style block or floors, and or dirt, and not much else. Some of them are kind of sloped towards the middle, so like water drains out. I try to think of something like that, but I didn't think it would look as good for me to do half slabs. I don't know. It might just really end up being mostly sandstone with some sort of slight light decoration in the floor, which means I have even less sandstone to use in the future. But see when we get to that part. That the floor is going to be much later on in the build. Well, I don't know about much. It'll be pretty much after we put the top on. And you can see from the map that the top of the buildings are bare still, and I'm thinking of putting wool up there. I'm not sure. It really depends on how everything looks once it's done. I don't like it currently, but that doesn't mean I won't like it later. But we'll get to that when the time comes. There's still, you know, once I get even all of the archways done up top, there's still work up there that I'm gonna have to do probably. Some sort of lighting up there. I do have mobs spawning all over the place up here. Oh wow, my stomach just made this horrible noise. Hopefully I won't have to cut the episode short. Yeah, I'll try to power on through it. We'll see. So, well, we're really close to being done with this, so I'm pretty sure that next episode we'll definitely have a we'll be pretty far along on this build once these are done, actually. The thing is, I have a smaller... Yeah, I think I do. Yeah, I do. This hallway is only 9 wide, while the main halls are 11. So it kind of changes the way I can do the top. I can't match it with these. Also, these blocks are in different locations, which is going to change things too. Kind of. I can always, I mean, I'm planning to have entryways into... I might actually just put arches up and leave it completely open. But we'll see. I don't know. I really haven't given all of that a whole lot of thought, because I've been focused on getting these wings done before everything else. And then once this is all done, we have to do decoration, which I haven't really put a whole lot of thought into either. There's a whole lot of things you can get in Bazaar, and I should look up too, see like what kind of stuff to put in. Carpet sellers, I think I'll have a guy who sells armor and a guy who sells weapons. I might even have a little potion guy, even though we're gonna have a potion shop. It's okay. You know, competition's fine. Oops. So those kind of things I'm going to have to figure out, or what the stalls are going to look like. I mean, the actual inhabited stalls. Yeah, but that's going to be definitely the last thing we do with this build, is make it actually have a purpose. But it's already added a whole lot to the city, I think. You guys can't really tell, but from above it's quite a serious piece of work, and it is taller than the palace, and it's definitely taller than the fort. It's pretty much up there. It's going to have, you know, it's adding its dramatic effect for certain when it comes to its effect on the city. Now, that's what I like to see, is actually building something that has an effect. Things like the crinks and, you know, the pyramids do have their own sort, but they had a different kind of feeling to the whole city build. This one, you know, those are just like ancient ruin kind of things, or not really ruins, but they're parts of a history, while putting up this building, while it could technically be something old and been here a long time, is more of a cultural landmark, you know, something that is in use, and whereas something like the Crinks and the Nubian pyramid is, you know, like everything from just a decoration or a tourist attraction, or, you know, it's a tomb or whatever, which, you know, doesn't get a whole lot of use. This, at least, will sort of have a purpose. Whether or not I can get a whole bunch of villages in here will probably be impossible. Without trapping them in here, unfortunately. I wish there was some sort of thing you could put down that, like, drew villagers to it in, like, a... that isn't a village. In, like, a radius. thinking of something like Tech It or Feed the Beast. They had, you know, they had interdiction torches, which would push or make it so mobs would run away from the torch. You know, if there was like a traction torch for villagers, like that brought them to the area to live within. You know, that would be something I would like. I don't see that ever happening in vanilla. Wow, we're just mobs everywhere now. Should get up top and do something about it, I guess. Temporarily. But yeah. This is one thing I've been wanting to do, and I was really planning to do it off camera. Just to get these walls in, because I felt like it was just, I don't know, just having this part of the building done felt really strange to me. It looked really out of place. But now that we have at least the base walls in, this whole build is taking much more of a shape. One thing I've thought about talking about before is, dang it, is the way I set up my inventory. And a lot of people I watch, everyone has their own style of how they organize their hotbar, and I think it says something about how people build or play this game. Like, I keep all my tools up front, and I always have an axe, and I always keep I have a very specific order for everything. It's pickaxe, shovel, axe, torches, building material, so an open one, and then a possible building material, or I often keep my ender pearls there, and then food of the moment, and then my weapons. And the reason for that is, I use with 1, 2, 3 tools that and 4 for, you know, building and whatever the most. And then if I have my pickaxe out, or say, you know, torch, I can get to 1 quick. And since I play a lot, I'm used to playing, you know, first-person shooters, I'm really used to weapon swaps. And then at the same time, if I need a weapon real quick, I can just mouse wheel, you know, straight to my weapons, and that's how I function. And I see people do it the opposite way, and all sorts of different ways, or just being completely random. And I think it kind of lends to different people's playstyles, which is awesome. It's awesome that Minecraft is able to give different people different experiences in the game. So that's a good thing. Right? Usually the people I see with weapons first tend to be cavers a lot more often, so it just makes a whole lot of sense. We're nearing the end of this episode, but we can still get some work done. A whole bunch of fences should go in, and that would hopefully relieve me of some of my mob issues in the bazaar currently. Can't wait till one day we'll have possibly a sort of a city fence or something, a city wall, which I'm thinking of. I'm kind of dreading right now as I think about it, because that's going to take a huge amount of resources. Sandstone, which we're currently lacking, and I did this backwards. I really wanted these stalls to have a feeling of being inset from the wall, which is really hard to do in Minecraft, because it's either you're flush or you're a whole block back, which seems drastic. Sometimes it's really drastic when you want something that's subtle. And so the only way I can really know how to do that is to do stairs like this. So it kind of gives you a kind of like, it's all the way out, but it's still inset a little, if that makes any sense. I know I bash on mods sometimes, but things like micro blocks, I wish they would, things like that, similarly, not exactly, would be introduced one day, I hope. Planning eventually to come through here and put like glowstone down or something. But you know, or it doesn't even have to be micro blocks. What I want, honestly, is a half slab that goes on a wall of my list of things, which I think should be in the game, on top of sandstone walls and half slab, wall half slabs and stairs are wall half slabs. So instead of putting, you know, a half slab down a half a block, you can just stick it on the wall to give the wall half a block. And I don't see why that's impossible or anything. It's really not. A lot like putting up a picture frame, in my head at least. And I don't, from my sort of programming experience, I don't see why not. Yeah. I think it's a little late now to talk about certain plans I have for Minecraft. Not modding per se, and not we will not be changing the way this is done here at Building with Sam, but I eventually want to do a secondary Minecraft series, but I'm waiting for certain things to unfold before that happens, and when it does, then I'll be willing to explain it more, because I'm going to have to do a lot of experimenting. Anyway, thanks for watching today. We have managed to make a decent amount of headway on this build, I think. At least it looks like we've done work, even though we still have 2/3 of the building nearly to finish. But it's getting there. It's getting there very slowly. This is definitely the biggest and most intensive build, I think, of the series currently, or of the city. The palace wasn't that complicated. It was a big box of walls. It was a big box and a bunch of windows. Anyway, thanks for watching again. Please like and subscribe as always. And I'll see you next time. Take care, everybody.